So, Bruce Willis swung by the other day. Yeah, Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis. Oh man, no way. You're just so awesome. Seriously, you were totally awesome. Bruce Willis moved into a care facility on August 15th, 2025. His family shelling out $200,000 a year just to keep him secure. The guy who used to yell over massive blasts in Die Hard can't talk anymore. But that's not even the worst of it. Emma dropped a bombshell she'd kept under wraps for years. She figured Bruce was just acting aloof. She had no clue his brain was quietly fading away. The illness was sneaking him out of their lives long before anyone caught on. What his family uncovered will rip your heart apart. Bruce Willis came into the world on March 19th, 1955, in a little town in West Germany called Idar-Oberstein. His dad was a U.S. soldier posted there after the war, and his mom was a German lady from Kassel. Right from the get-go, Bruce's life was a tug-of-war between two worlds. He grew up on a military base, surrounded by the shadows of a war that had just ended, caught between American structure and German customs. But when he was only 2, everything flipped. In 1957, his dad left the military, and the whole family crossed the Atlantic to New Jersey. Just like that, Bruce wasn't the kid from Germany anymore. He was just another face in a gritty American neighborhood, surrounded by factory folks and families scraping by. His dad worked with steel, and his mom picked up odd jobs at banks. They didn't have much, and Bruce felt like he didn't belong anywhere. As the 1960s kicked in, something started eating at him. Around 6 years old, Bruce developed a tough stutter. Words got trapped in his throat. He'd try to speak, and it just wouldn't come out right. Kids mocked him, slapping him with a mean nickname, Buck. He fought back with his fists, swinging hard to protect himself. But the embarrassment of not being able to talk clearly stuck with him. Sometimes it took minutes to choke out a single sentence. It crushed his self-esteem. By age 10, school was a war zone. The stutter didn't just sting, it cut him off from everyone. High school could have broken him. He ditched classes to avoid being called on. He pulled pranks to keep people from noticing his speech. But one day in the early 1970s, around 15, he took a leap and joined the drama club, and something wild happened. The second he stepped onto the stage and started delivering lines, the stutter vanished. It was like a miracle. He could talk smoothly, clearly, without fear. For the first time, people actually listened. Teachers were floored. Bruce figured out that when he slipped into someone else's skin, the words flowed effortlessly. Acting gave him his voice back. That moment changed everything. By 1973, he was the student council president. Some kids still teased him, but he didn't care. He'd found something that made him feel alive. In 1975, while studying theater at Montclair State University, 2 professors gave him speech therapy that helped even more. But by 1977, Bruce was done with school. He dropped out and bolted to New York City, chasing something bigger. With no cash and no connections, he slogged through long hours as a bartender just to get by. Sometimes he crashed on couches or slept in cramped apartments. But he had a knack for making people laugh. He skated to work. He played the harmonica for tips. He turned the bar into his own stage. Those years were messy and brutal. He got rejected over 100 times in his first year. But bit by bit, he started snagging roles in off-Broadway shows. His first real gig came in 1977 with a play called Heaven and Earth. The pay was lousy and rejection was constant, but he kept pushing. Sometimes he slept on benches when things got rough. But people started noticing him. He landed small parts in commercials, tiny roles in films, and in 1980, a quick scene with Frank Sinatra. One night while bartending, he got into a scuffle trying to protect someone. His nose got smashed bad. He needed emergency surgery. Docs warned the injury might mess with his voice, but he bounced back tougher. The scars stayed, giving him a rugged edge. Back then, nobody could have guessed he'd become one of the biggest action stars ever. But in those grimy New York bars, he built something stronger than fame. Friendships that lasted decades. He met John Goodman behind the counter at Chelsea Central. and together they put on wild, unscripted plays that left small crowds stunned. They were broke, scraping by on a few bucks a week, but the passion was real. They performed without scripts, shouting, crying, diving into every moment. Those raw shows sharpened Bruce's timing and gave him the spark that would later light up movie screens. Then, in 1985, everything shifted. Bruce walked into an audition for a new TV show called Moonlighting. About 3,000 actors were gunning for the part, including radio stars and trained performers. ABC turned him down 11 times, but he came back one last time with a shaved head, earrings, and an attitude that demanded attention. He improvised his lines and got the producers laughing. Suddenly, the outsider with the stutter was the guy they wanted. Moonlighting hit the air on March 3, 1985, and Bruce Willis became a star overnight. The show was a chaotic, expensive mess. It took twice as long to shoot as most shows. Episodes were 120 pages long, but Bruce's charm, quick wit, and unpredictability made it a hit. He butted heads with his co-star Sybil Shepherd constantly. By 1986, the set was a pressure cooker. They argued, snapped at each other before scenes, and sometimes refused to talk off camera. The stress got so bad that Bruce collapsed from exhaustion in 1988 and ended up in the hospital. Scripts were late, ratings slipped, but the chemistry between them kept fans glued. Behind the scenes, Bruce was burning out, but on camera, he was electric. While all this was going down, Bruce stunned everyone by dropping a music album called The Return of Bruno in January 1987. Nobody thought a TV star could climb the charts, but he did. The album went gold, selling 500,000 copies. It even hit number 2 in the UK. Critics rolled their eyes, but fans ate it up. Bruce sang with soul legends and made it something unforgettable. It was weird, bold, and fun, just like him. But the grind was wearing him down. Shooting Moonlighting episodes that cost over $1 million each pushed him to the brink. His co-star's pregnancy in 1987 caused more delays, and a huge writer's strike in 1988 nearly killed the show for good. On May 14, 1989, Moonlighting wrapped for good. Bruce had poured everything into it. By then, his name was already ringing through Hollywood. His TV salary had shot up to $50,000 per episode, a massive jump from the $1,500 gigs he started with. Back then, Bruce Willis wasn't supposed to be the guy. He was just the charming dude from Moonlighting, and no one expected him to snag the lead in a major action flick. But in a weird twist, a script called Die Hard was floating around Hollywood in the late 1980s. Big shots like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone passed on it. Even Frank Sinatra got an offer since the story was technically a sequel to something he'd starred in years before. He said no, too. Then, out of nowhere, Bruce Willis got the call. What blew everyone's mind wasn't just that he was picked. It was that the studio was ready to pay him $5 million. That was superstar money, the kind reserved for names like Dustin Hoffman or Robert Redford. Industry folks thought the studio had gone nuts. Filming kicked off in late 1987, mostly inside Fox Plaza in Los Angeles. When the movie dropped on July 15, 1988, no one expected it to explode like it did. It raked in over $140 million worldwide and turned Bruce Willis into a legit action hero. But it came at a cost. During one of the big explosion stunts, a loud blast went off too close, causing permanent partial hearing loss in his left ear. He kept it hush-hush at the time to keep production rolling. But years later, it came out that the damage never fully healed, adding to the health struggles that followed him into the 2000s. Still, the raw, relatable vibe he brought to John McClane changed the game. He didn't look like a superhero, just a regular guy stuck in a crazy situation, and audiences loved him for it. A year later, Bruce pulled a move no one saw coming. He signed on to voice a talking baby in a film called Look Who's Talking. It sounded like a total joke, but the real shocker was what he earned. For just 4 days of voice work, he pocketed $10 million, thanks to a savvy deal that gave him a cut of the profits. The movie was made for under $10 million, but ended up pulling in nearly $300 million worldwide. His voice, dripping with charm and sarcasm, was a smash with families everywhere. It spun off into a franchise, and he scored another $10 million for the sequel. People started to see he wasn't just lucky, he was sharp. Then he switched gears completely. In September 1989, In Country came out, a slow, heartfelt story about a Vietnam vet in a small town. Bruce grew a mustache and played the role with quiet pain. His own dad had fought in the Korean War, which might have made it feel more real. Critics liked it. Roger Ebert gave it 3 stars, but audiences didn't show up. The film only made a few million. Still, it proved Bruce wasn't scared to take chances, even if it meant missing out on another blockbuster. By 1990, he was back in full action mode with Die Hard 2, hitting theaters on July 4th. This time, he knew his value, landing $7.5 million upfront plus a share of the profits. The movie pulled in over $240 million worldwide, topping the original. Behind the scenes, he clashed with the director over realism, refusing cartoonish stunts because he wanted the danger to feel authentic. That attention to detail kept his career soaring. By the time the third Die Hard rolled around in 1995, his paycheck hit $15 million. But not every project was a winner. The Look Who's Talking sequel, released in late 1990, tanked, earning just $47 million and getting trashed by critics. Bruce recorded his lines in 3 days and later admitted the script wasn't ready. He even sued the producer, claiming they owed him $2 million from profits, but the case got tossed. It was a reminder that quick cash didn't always mean lasting success. Then came a game changer. In 1994, Pulp Fiction hit the scene. Quentin Tarantino cast Bruce as Butch, a boxer who won't throw a fight. The movie didn't just recharge his career, it showed him in a whole new light. Gritty, real, and ready to take risks. He earned just $800,000, way less than his usual fee, but he didn't care. It was about the story. The film raked in over $200 million and snagged an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Bruce didn't get a nomination, but people finally saw him as more than an action star. The next year, he went even deeper with 12 Monkeys, released in late 1995, playing a shattered man from a post-apocalyptic future. He dropped 20 pounds, visited mental hospitals to prepare, and fractured his shoulder doing a stunt. Still, he kept going. The movie made over $160 million and earned 2 Oscar nods. No nomination for Bruce, but nobody could deny how far he went for the role. By 1997, he shook things up again with The Fifth Element, a wild, futuristic ride full of color and chaos. Bruce played a cab driver turned Earth's last hope. The film cost nearly $90 million, a record at the time, and made over $260 million. Bruce did his own stunts, rocking tight orange vests he hated, but it all clicked. The movie became a cult classic. Then in 1998, he led the massive disaster flick Armageddon, playing Harry Stamper, a tough oil driller sent to stop an asteroid from wiping out Earth. Released on July 1st, it grossed over $553 million worldwide, making it the year's top film. But things were rough behind the scenes. Bruce argued with director Michael Bay over cut scenes, especially emotional family moments, and clashed with producer Jerry Bruckheimer, later calling the shoot miserable. Still, he improvised the film's tear-jerking goodbye, which helped it connect with audiences. Despite 4 Oscar nominations, Bruce got a Razzie for Worst Actor in 1999, a weird twist for such a massive hit. Back in 1987, Bruce's personal life grabbed headlines too. He met Demi Moore in July at a movie screening while she was engaged to Emilio Estevez. 4 months later, on November 21st, 1987, they got married in Las Vegas. Demi later said it wasn't even planned. They were headed to gamble when Bruce suggested tying the knot. A month later, they had a proper ceremony with about 100 guests, including Little Richard officiating. The quick wedding cost less than $1,000, but kicked off a major Hollywood romance. Rumors swirled that Demi was pregnant before the wedding, but their first daughter, Rumor, arrived exactly 9 months later in August 1988. Bruce and Demi had 3 daughters, Rumor in 1988, Scout in 1991, and Tallulah in 1994. They tried balancing work and family by alternating movie roles, but fame brought stress. Demi made a record $12.5 million for striptease in 1996, but rumors of affairs started swirling. Bruce was linked to models, Demi to co-stars. In 1995, Bruce reportedly stormed off a set after a fight. They stayed together publicly, but cracks were growing. In 1998, after 11 years, they separated. The divorce finalized in October 2000. It seemed calm on the surface, but they battled privately over their $200 million fortune. Bruce paid Demi up to $90 million, one of Hollywood's priciest divorces. They also sorted out custody for their daughters. Bruce told Rolling Stone they stayed friends for the kids, but sources said it wasn't easy. Demi kept the Idaho ranch where she raised the girls. At the time, Bruce was still riding high from Armageddon, but the divorce showed even the biggest stars had personal pain behind the spotlight. Amazingly, they stayed close post-divorce. Demi attended Bruce's 2009 wedding to Emma Heming, and in 2019, when Bruce and Emma renewed their vows, Demi joined the family celebration. They even quarantined together in Idaho in 2020 with all the kids, sharing happy photos. Demi supported Bruce after his 2022 aphasia diagnosis and the 2023 frontotemporal dementia news. Their blended family stayed tight, proving love doesn't always end with divorce. One of Bruce's darkest moments came in 1992 when a woman claimed he fathered her child from a 1991 one-night stand. She took him to court, and a DNA test, costing about $5,000 at the time, proved he wasn't the father. Still, the scandal dented his image as a devoted dad. Demi stood by him, but reports said it strained their marriage. In 1999, Bruce starred in The Sixth Sense, a quiet thriller that shocked the world. He played child psychologist Malcolm Crowe, earning $14 million. The twist, Crowe was dead the whole time, blew minds. The film grossed nearly $673 million worldwide, holding the top spot for 5 weeks, and was 1999's second biggest movie, just behind Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Bruce didn't get an Oscar nod, but the role supercharged his career. He kept the twist secret and improvised scenes to make Crowe feel real. In 2000, he reunited with M. Night Shyamalan for Unbreakable, playing David Dunn, a man who survives a train crash and wonders if he's a real-life superhero. The film cost a whopping $75 million, more than expected, partly because Bruce earned $20 million and Samuel L. Jackson got $10 million. It made $248 million, but the high budget caused friction with Disney. Reshoots drove costs higher, yet the film built a loyal fan base and later became part of a trilogy. At the time, the risky bet nearly tanked Shyamalan's career. Before all the movie fame, Bruce tried music with The Return of Bruno in 1987, playing a character named Bruno Radolini and covering classic songs. One track, Respect Yourself, hit number 5 on Billboard, and Under the Boardwalk reached number 2 in the UK. The album sold over 500,000 copies, going gold, but critics trashed it. Rolling Stone called it tone-deaf, and the mockery led Bruce to quit professional singing by 1989. He still performed at big events like Farm Aid, but the criticism hit him hard emotionally. In 2001, Bruce was back in the news over rumors during Bandits. Starring with Billy Bob Thornton and Cate Blanchett, tabloids claimed he and Blanchett were having an affair. Things got messy when Ashton Kutcher, dating another actress on set, got suspicious. Demi wrote about it in her 2019 memoir. Blanchett called it nonsense, but the drama nearly derailed the film's promotion. Bandits made just $67 million, failing to cover its $75 million budget. In 2002, Bruce faced a huge flop with Heart's War, playing a World War II prison camp colonel. The $70 million film earned only $32 million worldwide. MGM lost over $50 million, and their stock took a hit. Bruce, paid $15 million, later said the experience made him question his career. He went to therapy and stepped back from big films. In 2007, he revived John McClane in Live Free or Die Hard, facing cyber terrorists. Despite a PG-13 rating, it grossed $383 million worldwide. But a stunt gone wrong during a high-speed chase gave him a concussion. It wasn't his first close call. Back in the original Die Hard, an explosion nearly killed him, and gunfire cost him hearing in his left ear. Co-star Justin Long kept things light, sneaking oatmeal onto Bruce's seat. Directed by Len Wiseman, the film made over $134 million in the U.S. alone. In 2006, Bruce surprised everyone by voicing RJ, a slick raccoon in Over the Hedge, a family cartoon about animals raiding the suburbs. It was a wild shift, but he nailed it, and the film earned $339 million worldwide. He reportedly made $5 million for the voice work. Released May 19th, it was a fun hit, with co-stars like Gary Shandling and Wanda Sykes bringing the Forest crew to life. Bruce made RJ cunning and hilarious, tricking his pals to settle a debt with a bear. It was a rare chance for fans to see him in a kids' movie, showing a fresh side at his career's peak. In 2010, he played Frank Moses, a retired CIA agent in Red, a funny, high-energy flick that made nearly $200 million worldwide. With legends like Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich, and Helen Mirren, the chemistry was fire. But Bruce's exhaustion and mood swings caused tension on set. Critics loved it, and a 2013 sequel added $148 million, though it didn't quite match the original spark. Red reminded everyone why Bruce was an action titan, even as age started to show. That year, he had a brief role in The Expendables with Stallone and Schwarzenegger, a dream for action fans. But in 2013, drama hit. Offered $3 million for 4 days on Expendables 3, Bruce demanded $4 million. Stallone called him greedy and lazy publicly, and within 72 hours, Harrison Ford replaced him. The fallout made headlines. The original Expendables made $274 million in 2010, and Bruce's small role was memorable. Ironically, his 2013 film Red 2 made $80 million, suggesting his greed was just negotiation. But the damage was done. By 2015, Bruce was churning out low-budget, straight-to-video action flicks like Vice, where he played a resort owner with lifelike androids. It aimed for a Blade Runner vibe, but flopped. Released in January, it barely registered, and critics called it dull and lazy. People noticed he was doing up to 5 of these a year. His performances felt empty, his spark fading. When his family revealed in 2022 that he was battling aphasia, a brain condition affecting language, it clicked. These weren't passion projects. They were signs something was off. Outside of movies, life had its own twists. In 2009, he shocked everyone by marrying British model Emma Hemming, whom he met on the set of Perfect Stranger 2 years earlier. Despite a 24-year age gap, he was 54, she was 30. They wed in a private ceremony at his Turks and Caicos home on March 21st. Demi and their daughters were there. Days later, they made it official in Beverly Hills. A decade later, they renewed their vows on that same beach, with all 5 daughters watching. It was calm, beautiful, a shot at something solid. That peace shattered in 2015 when intruders tried breaking into their Idaho ranch. The attempt was stopped, But it was scary. Security got a major upgrade. Gates, cameras, armed guards costing about $500,000 a year. Worse, one intruder had personal photos of the Willis family. It wasn't random, it was targeted. Bruce, unflappable on screen, took private defense training. Their remote ranch turned into a fortress. Fame came with a heavy price.